Hello dolls, and welcome back to another video. June is wedding month on my channel, and I just want to make all the videos about my wedding and just 60s and 70s weddings in general. I kicked this series off in the beginning of the month by explaining you 60s wedding fashion, but today let's take a trip back to the wonderful world of 1970s bridal fashion. This decade was all about expressing individuality and breaking free from traditions, and that energy was perfectly captured in the dreamy wedding looks of the decade. From the glam ceremonies of celebrities like Liza Minnelli, Bianca Jagger, and Elizabeth Taylor, to the evolution of bridal fashion, let's explore how weddings in the 1970s embodied the spirit of freedom and creativity. The early 1970s saw a continuation of the bohemian trends started in the late 1960s. I said that in the 60s video, how at the end of the decade, a lot of people opted for more casual, laid-back backyard weddings. Empire waists and flowing fabrics were still popular, with brides opting for dresses that reflected a more relaxed and natural style. Lace, crochet, and embroidery were common, giving dresses a handmade, artisanal feel. By the mid-1970s, bridal fashion began to embrace a more eclectic mix of styles. The hippie influences remained strong, but there was also a return to vintage-inspired looks. Brides wore everything from Victorian-inspired high-neck gowns to sleek, minimalist designs. The emphasis was on personal expression, and brides were not afraid to break the rules. For a bold and daring look, pantsuits became a chic alternative to traditional gowns. As I already said in my video where I explained 1960s fashion, which I'm just gonna link here in case you want to see that, the bridal pantsuit was completely new in the 1960s, but by the 1970s they were a popular choice. Bianca Jagger famously wore a white pantsuit by Yves Saint Laurent, a tuxedo jacket with a wide-brimmed hat for her wedding to Mick Jagger in 1971. She created an iconic look that challenged bridal norms and epitomized 1970s sophistication. Celebrity weddings played a huge role in shaping bridal trends in the 1970s. When Liza Minnelli married Jack Harley Jr. in 1974, she wore a striking yellow pantsuit, breaking away from the traditional white and setting trends for colorful bridal attire. Liza Minnelli's sister got hitched to Jack Hooker in an insanely cool long-sleeve pantsuit with satin and silk stripes, completed with a wide off-the-shoulder ruched neckline and a matching choker. The ruched off-the-shoulder style was hugely popular in the 1970s, kind of something like what I am wearing today. And it could also be seen on the beautiful Alana Hamilton. The model wore a gauzy boho ensemble with a lace-trimmed, shoulder-bearing top and eyelet-detailed peasant skirting. She paired her look with sheer, short lace gloves and a halo of baby breath in her hair to tie the knot to Rod Stewart. I quickly have to interject here because I truly love the baby breath. It is an element I incorporated into my wedding, and I feel like it is perfect for that laid-back 1970s hippie feel. To explain how bridal fashion evolved from the 1960s to the 1970s, I would like to focus on a woman who got married twice in both decades, and actually twice to the same man. So let's talk about the wonderful wedding fashion of Miss Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton's romance was one of the most famous and tumultuous love stories in Hollywood history. Their two marriages were marked by grand gestures, passionate love, and equally dramatic breakups. So let me give you a detailed look at both weddings and how her style changed over the decade. Elizabeth and Richard got first married on March 15 in 1964 in a private ceremony at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Montreal, Canada. The wedding was a relatively low-key affair considering the couple's star power, attended by only a few close friends and their family members. Elizabeth and Richard's relationship had begun on the set of Cleopatra in 1962, where their on-screen chemistry quickly translated into a real-life romance. Both were married to other people at the time, making their affair scandalous and widely publicized. For her first wedding to Richard, Elizabeth wore a canary yellow chiffon gown designed by Irene Sharaf, who had also designed the costumes for Cleopatra. The dress was characterized by its simplicity and elegance, with long sleeves and a high waistline that emphasized her striking beauty. She accessorized with a dramatic braided hairstyle, adorned with hyacinths and lily-of-the-valley flowers, creating a romantic and fresh bridal look. This choice of a colorful dress instead of a traditional white gown reflected her unique style and flair for the dramatic. After their divorce in June of 1974, Elizabeth and Richard realized they could not live without each other. Despite the volatility of their relationship, the deep emotional bond they shared brought them back together. Their second marriage was an attempt to reconcile and rebuild their life together, driven by their enduring love and connection. So on October 10th in 1975, just 16 months after their first divorce, Elizabeth and Richard tied the knot again. This time the ceremony took place in Kazan, Botswana, a unique and exotic location that underscored the couple's penchant for drama and adventure. The wedding was a spontaneous and private affair, attended by only a few close friends of the couple. For their second wedding, Elizabeth Taylor wore a very different ensemble compared to her first wedding. She chose a more bohemian-inspired outfit that perfectly matched the relaxed and intimate nature of their ceremony. She wore a tie-dye sundress in shades of green and white, which was quite unconventional for a wedding, but suited her adventurous spirit and the wonderful location. Her hair was styled naturally, loose and flowing, completing the casual and free-spirited vibe of the ceremony. This choice reflected her and Richard's desire for a fresh start and underscored their distinctive, non-traditional approach to their second marriage. In the early 1970s, bridal gowns were often characterized by flowing, ethereal designs. Long bell sleeves and high necklines were popular, often paired with flower crowns and long veils. These dresses embodied the free-spirited, nature-loving ethos of the era. As the decade progressed, wedding fashion saw the rise of disco glam. Brides who wanted to dazzle on their big day opted for sparkling fabrics, metallic accents, and bold, glamorous silhouettes. The influence of the disco scene brought a new level of glitz and excitement to bridal fashion. Groom fashion in the 1970s was just as varied and dynamic as bridal fashion. Grooms embraced the era's flair for individuality, opting for colorful suits, wide lapels, and bold ties. The influence of rock and roll was evident, with many grooms choosing velvet jackets, ruffled shirts, and flared trousers. The emphasis was on expressing personal style and breaking away from conventional formal wear. I often get asked about the popular brands of the 1960s and 70s, and one brand that was most likely one of the most popular brands of the 1970s was Gunne Sax. I am actually going to make a full video on Gunne Sax pretty soon because I really want to break down the entire brand. It is very interesting and why their designs were so sought after, because they still are. But they were also really big in bridal wear. So today I want to take you back to the wonderful world of dreamy 1970s Gunne Sax wedding dresses. Gunne Sax wedding dresses gained immense popularity in the 1970s for several compelling reasons, resonating with the cultural, social, and fashion trends of the decade. The 1970s was an era marked by a strong countercultural movement that celebrated individualism, freedom, and a return to nature. Gunne Sax dresses, designed by Jessica McIntosh, embodied this bohemian spirit with their romantic and whimsical design. Featuring lace, ribbons, and Victorian-inspired details, these dresses provided a nostalgic yet fresh take on bridal fashion that appealed to brides seeking a more personal and natural look. Gunne Sax wedding dresses drew heavily from Victorian and Edwardian fashion, which resonated with the 1970s trend of looking back to earlier, more romantic eras. The use of high necklines, puffed sleeves, and corset-like bodices offered a sense of vintage charm and elegance. The historical influence made the dresses stand out in a decade that embraced a wide variety of eclectic styles. Unlike high-end designer gowns, Gunne Sax dresses were relatively affordable and widely accessible, allowing many brides to achieve a distinctive and stylish look without breaking the bank. In the 1970s, a typical Gunne Sax wedding dress would range from approximately $50 to about $150. This price tag made them accessible to many brides who wanted a stylish and unique dress without spending a fortune. This accessibility democratized wedding fashion, making it possible for more women to have a dress that felt special and unique. I feel like I quickly need to interject here because in the 1960s wedding video I said that a lot of women used to make their own wedding dresses or wore hand-me-downs. So I actually briefly talked about this, but I'm definitely going to talk more about it in the video where I'm going to break down 1970s fashion in general. There was a huge shift from the 1950s to the 70s. In the 60s, a lot of new boutiques started to come up. There were a lot of new brands, and it is kind of where fast fashion originated. So in the 1960s and through the course of the decade, people got a lot more used to running into stores, getting things got a lot more affordable. So the idea of making your dresses yourself, while it was still for a lot of people the go-to, younger people especially were more drawn to going into malls and shops. So Gunne Sax really hit the time here by making wonderful wedding dresses that were affordable, stylish, and widely accessible. Gunne Sax dresses often featured intricate detailing and could easily be personalized or altered, allowing brides to express their individual style. The dresses could be adorned with additional lace, ribbons, or other embellishments, making each gown feel unique to the wearer. This availability to customize was particularly appealing in an era that valued personal expression. The designs of Gunne Sax dresses were not only beautiful but also practical. Made from comfortable materials like cotton and adorned with flowing silhouettes, these dresses were ideal for outdoor and less formal weddings, which became increasingly popular during the 1970s. Brides could enjoy their special day without feeling restricted in their attire. The broader cultural trends of the 1970s, including the rise of folk music, the popularity of artists like Joni Mitchell, and a general movement towards a more relaxed and natural lifestyle, all contributed to the appeal of Gunne Sax dresses. The dresses aligned perfectly with the aesthetic celebrated by these cultural icons and movements. Just like with any fashion trend, media exposure and celebrity endorsement played a huge role in popularizing Gunne Sax. When notable personalities and muses of the time were seen wearing these romantic bohemian gowns, it inspired many brides to adopt this style for their own weddings. Gunne Sax wedding dresses captured the essence of the 1970s by blending romantic historical influences with the decade's countercultural values. Their affordability, comfort, and capacity for personalization made them an attractive option for many brides seeking a unique and memorable look. By aligning perfectly with the cultural and social trends of the time, Gunne Sax dresses became iconic symbols of 1970s bridal fashion. Wedding ceremonies in the 1970s were as diverse as the fashion. Traditional church weddings were still popular, but many couples chose more unconventional venues, reflecting their personal tastes and lifestyles. Outdoor weddings in gardens, forests, and beaches became increasingly common as couples sought to celebrate their love in natural, relaxed settings. The accessories and details of 1970s weddings were a testament to the era's eclectic styles. Veils ranged from long flowing styles to short face-framing designs. Many women opted for a large head, styled either with or without a dreamy veil. Floral crowns made a significant comeback, often paired with long, loose hairstyles or natural curls. Jewelry was typically understated, with many brides opting for simple, bohemian-inspired pieces. The 1970s was a decade known for its diverse and evolving fashion trends, which reflected in wedding hair and makeup styles. Brides of the era embraced both the natural bohemian look and a glamorous, disco-inspired aesthetics, allowing for a wide range of personal expression. Many brides opted for a natural look, with long flowing hair that was either straight or softly waved. This style embraced the free spirit and bohemian look of the decade. Flower crowns and headbands were popular accessories, adding a romantic and earthy touch to the bridal ensemble. Soft curls and waves were another popular choice. Brides often let their hair down or had it only partially up, creating a relaxed yet elegant look. This style worked well with the natural makeup trend and added a touch of effortless glamour. For a more traditional and formal look, brides still chose updos. These could range from sleek and sophisticated chignons to more relaxed, loose buns with tendrils framing the face. Braids and twists were often incorporated into updos, adding texture and interest. Braids were a significant trend of the 1970s, with brides incorporating them into various styles. Braids were widely seen in the 70s on girls and women and pretty much everyone. There were a lot of men doing them too if they had long hair, and they really were adopted for everyone and in every situation, and wedding and bridal looks were no exception. From simple single braids to more intricate braided crowns and accents, this look was both versatile and charming, perfect for a bohemian-themed wedding. For African American brides, the natural hair movement influenced many hairstyles. Afros, cornrows, and other natural hairstyles were celebrated for their beauty and cultural significance, often adorned with flowers or other elegant accessories. Reflecting the decade's embrace of natural beauty, many brides opted for minimal makeup. This look focused on enhancing natural features with light foundation, a touch of blush, and subtle eye makeup. Soft, neutral tones were used for eyeshadows, and lips were often painted with nude or soft pink. Those brides who were looking for a little more drama in their look, the eyes were still the focal point. As said in the 60s and 70s, eyes were just the go-to. It was definitely the focus on all the looks, and while the 70s were a lot more tamed and not as bold as the 60s, the eye makeup remained the focal point. Bold, winged eyeliner and mascara were used to create a striking look. Earthy tones like browns, greens, and golds were popular choices for eyeshadow, proving a natural yet defined appearance. Influenced by the disco scene, some brides embraced a more glamorous makeup look. This included shimmering eyeshadows, bold eyeliner, and dramatic false eyelashes. Lips were often highlighted with glossy or bold lipstick shades, such as deep reds or bright pinks, adding a pop of color to their overall look. Regardless of the makeup style, a healthy blushed look was common. Brides used blush to accentuate their cheekbones, giving them a youthful and radiant appearance. Peachy and rosy tones were the most popular choices, adding a natural flush to the complexion. Eyebrows were groomed and defined but kept natural looking. Unlike the thin brows of previous decades, the 1970s favored a fuller, more natural brow shape, often lightly filled to enhance their natural form. The 1970s offered a rich tapestry of wedding hair and makeup styles, allowing brides to choose looks that best suited their personalities and wedding themes. Whether opting for a natural bohemian look or a more glamorous disco-inspired style, brides of the 1970s had the freedom to express themselves in diverse and beautiful ways. The 1970s were a decade of liberation and experimentation in bridal fashion. From the bohemian elegance of the early years to the disco glam and punk influences in the later years, wedding fashion in the 70s was all about individuality and self-expression. Influenced by cultural icons and changing social norms, 1970s weddings celebrated a break from tradition and a move towards more personalized and creative celebrations. Whether through lavish, celebrity-studded affairs or a simple, intimate ceremony, brides and grooms of the 70s made their weddings a unique reflection of their personal style and vibrant spirits of the time. So that's it for today's video. I want to thank you for watching it. Make sure to comment which of these looks and the 1970s wedding styles was your favorite. I would love to know. There are so many incredible styles in this decade, and I truly cannot wait to hear which one is your favorite. I've also been married now, as said in the past video, but this is the first video I am filming post-wedding. I'm still waiting for all the pictures and videos to come in, but once they're with me, I'm gonna share everything with you. I want to make a video all about our styles. I also just want to make a video telling you how everything went, because there was a hailstorm in the middle and definitely a lot of things didn't work out as they were planned, but overall it truly was the perfect celebration. It was everything I could have wished for and more. So on that note, I want to say goodbye now because it is the week after my wedding, and while we're not going on a traditional honeymoon right now, we want to spend some time together. So I'm gonna go outside now and spend some time with my family. I hope you have a beautiful day. Whether you're just watching this for fun or maybe you're currently planning your own wedding, I wish you nothing but the best for your future. I hope you have a beautiful day. Go out, enjoy the sunshine. Take yourself some time to focus on you and your mental health today, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye everybody!